Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to go over some recent news that came out via Screen Rant, and that is the news that one of the new Star Wars trilogies that is in development post Episode 9 is going to be set during the Old Republic era. Now, for those people who don't know what the Old Republic is, it is the universe that was created by BioWare with their game, with their first game, Knights of the Old Republic. It was then continued to Knights of the Old Republic 2, and for the Star Wars Old Republic MMO that came out, I believe, in 2013. Now, the RPGs are instant classics, both of them. A lot of Star Wars fans love them. Unfortunately, a lot of that canon was kind of wiped clean when Disney kind of erased the expanded universe on Star Wars before they put out Episode 7. But now we're seeing reports that the trilogy that is currently underway by the Game of Thrones directors, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, is going to be placed sometime in that Old Republic time frame. Now, that does not mean they're going to be following any of the games in terms of, following the story of Revan or following the story of the Exile from Knights of the Old Republic 2 or anything involving the MMO. It just states that it is going to be in that time period, which means two things. Number one, it is going to be... So, kind of the beauty of this setting is that it gives them a lot of freedom in terms of the universe. They're not constrained, because the setting itself takes place thousands of years before the Skywalker saga even takes place. So you have a lot of freedom in that setting, where you can pretty much do whatever you want, because it's so far removed from the Star Wars that we know. And at the same time, there's a lot of Jedi that are still around in that period of time. You have the Sith, which are a major force, so you can have more than two Sith in the movie. They can have, the Sith Empire still exists at this point. There's a lot of stuff that they could play around with, and they're given a lot more freedom to do a lot more of the flashy stuff that people like, the lightsaber duels and stuff like that. You still have your classic interpretations. You have the Republic troopers, which look quite a bit like stormtroopers, and then you have a bunch of other stuff. You still have blasters. You still have a bunch of that lore and stuff that's still around. But you have a chance to create all new characters, do all new stories, not kind of follow the cookie. I shouldn't say cookie cutter, but the general gist of a Star Wars movie. You can kind of expand on it, and people won't have certain expectations. And it gives those directors a lot of freedom. And I know people have criticized Benioff and Weiss over their recent seasons of Game of Thrones, because they're being criticized because they're going off of basically George R.R. Martin's manuscripts. They're not going off the books anymore, and they're saying that the writing has taken a dip, and this, that, and the other thing. But look, I think that they can pull off a good enough Star Wars, and they're probably the only ones right now that I think are producing anything that's worthwhile. I think the Rian Johnson trilogy is trash. It's going to be trash. The Last Jedi was trash, and those are probably going to be shitty throwaway movies. There's probably going to be even more boycotts on those than there was on Solo. But this could be a new this could be a brand new beginning for Star Wars, and if Disney doesn't screw this one up, then maybe they'll win back some of that core audience, because people have been clamoring for this. They've been clamoring for something set in the Old Republic, in the Old Republic time frame, and to kind of explore that more in relation to an expansion of the games and any other of the extended lore that's around it. So there's a lot to do, and there's a lot that they could do. And I for one am actually kind of eager to see what they're going to do with it. Right now, again, it's extremely early. They haven't cast anybody yet. I think they're still working out the scripts and stuff. Is kind of worrying to me that they've already greenlit 3 films, because this is supposed to be a trilogy. because we've seen this kind of in the past with stuff like Sony, where they get one movie that kind of works, and then they say, all right, we're going to make 5 of them. That's not really what you should be doing. You should be concentrating on making one movie after another and making them good and making them of good quality first before you decide, all right, we want to make 5 or 6 of these. It's like, no, you need to kind of get the train rolling before you can kind of add cars onto it. That's the kind of idea. But this is looking up. This is something that fans have wanted, and I think that the fans at this point have kind of forced Disney to listen to them, and forced them to the point where they don't have any other choice if they want to save Star Wars as a brand, because essentially they've crippled it. Right now, at least with the current iteration of Star Wars. This could be very revitalizing for it, though, and I for one am excited to see what it's going to look like. And as long as you don't have all this insane stuff that they've been doing, all the Mary Sue junk, all of the social commentary, all of the hatred towards the fans, if they stop all of that nonsense and concentrate on just making good films, then I think that this trilogy has a chance. In addition to the fact that it is obviously being put in that time frame because fans like that idea, or maybe D.B. Weiss and David Benioff like that idea as well. But it's news that's looking up for the Star Wars brand, which is more than what we've had to say in a while. I mean, really, it's just been this and that Mandalorian TV series, and really, aside from that, there hasn't been much. Oh, and the Return of the Clone Wars. But aside from those 3 things, there really hasn't been too much good news on the Star Wars front, and they've been kind of going silent. I know Celebration is going to be coming up in, I believe, is it May or June of this year? Star Wars Celebration, which I'm assuming they'll announce a bunch of stuff then. But until then, this is just kind of a little tidbit, but it's something that's promising, and it's something to look forward to if you are a Star Wars fan. So put in the comments what you think. Do you like this idea? Do you not like this idea? Do you think Disney's going to fuck it up? Or just if you have anything else to say about Star Wars as a brand right now, anything else you're looking forward to. So yeah, put that stuff in the comments, hit the bell for notifications, put a like on the video, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?